Welcome to another episode of Golden Nuggets, Tips and Tales, powered by Property Finder. This is where we uncover the untold stories behind the region's top real estate professionals. And because there's a great story behind every lead and listing, we're shining a spotlight and going behind the scenes with Property Finder super agents, whose journeys are packed with hard-earned lessons, bold moves, and powerful takeaways you won't forget. Today, I'm joined by Evern Van Niekerk, the sales director at Paragon Properties. And you deal in the top end of the market, would you say?
Yes, I do.
Ultra high net worth individuals day in, day out.
Correct.
What's probably one of the biggest misconceptions people have when it comes to dealing with UNHWIs? No, UHNWIs, sorry. Yeah.
Well, ultra high net worth clients require a certain amount of service, and they want knowledge before they're making a decision. And I still remember my one client, and he's actually one of my favorite clients. When we started off his journey, I received an email via Property Finder, and we connected via email back and forth.
Which is actually, by the way, a very rare form of communication these days. Did you know less than 2% of leads come through email?
Well, a lot of high net worth individuals like email.
So that's a good little indicator.
As well as it gives them the opportunity to not be harassed on their phone. So that's why they end up emailing you.
Controlling the communication.
They control the communication right from the get-go. And he had a very common name. So you try and search and do your research as best as possible, and hope that you found the right person online.
Be awkward if you didn't.
There's so many Billy Bobs in the world. Like you never know, never know. So there's always that risk element of, well, is this person a time waster? Are they not? Essentially, he came in, and throughout the summer, I picked him up from his hotel.
What did the email say?
Well, he was looking for a very specific type of property. He had inquired on one of my properties. Funny enough, it was a 35 mil property. If I can remember, it was priced at 35. That same property is 100 mil now. Can you believe it?
Wow. So how long ago was this?
It was around 2022.
Okay.
So, and he came in that summer. He had obviously been in Dubai for vacations and that type of thing, but never really researched where to live and where's the best place to live.
So was this a holiday, or this is the recce mission?
This was a recce mission. So he came in, obviously stayed at a really nice hotel, picked him up from the hotel, and I think as often as possible, I will always try and pick up a client. If they are flying in, I will...
From the airport?
Well, flying in or coming in, and they're staying at a hotel, and I'm going to be showing them Dubai and showing them various different communities. The reason being is that you get to chat and build relationship in the car, ask questions without it being an interrogation.
Over
lunch and coffees, and explaining as you're going. We're driving past the hospital now. We're driving past the closest school to the community. This is where, that's where the shops are, and look at the parks and look at here, and giving them a proper tour of Dubai while you are engaging in conversation all the way through.
As opposed to saying, here's the location of the property I want to show you, meet me there.
Yeah. When they meet you there, they've most likely taken a wrong turn. They've seen how far it is and feel that it is far. I think that's often the misconception around El Barari, for example. They feel that it's so far, but I often ask, far from what? Because it is 17 minutes to downtown.
Is it?
It is.
Okay, I don't know which route you're taking.
Let me put it this way. And this is my sales pitch that I always use within Alberari. I will race you from a hills view villa in Dubai Hills and a luxury villa, call it the collection, in Alberari. I will race you from that villa to Dubai Mall, and we'll see who gets there first. You face Al Khail traffic, I've got zero traffic.
Okay,
all the way through. It takes me 5 minutes to get out of the community. It takes you 15.
Right.
So
if anyone wants to challenge Evern to this.
No, but when you are driving in the car and you are taking them to perhaps far out communities, and you are going from one community to the next, and you engaging in conversation, the journey feels shorter.
Yeah. And that's a good point, that you know the best route. So they're not going to take the
they're not going to take a wrong turn or miss a turn off and then end up having to go 20 kilometers to make a U-turn to come back. The age-old Dubai problem. But yeah, we must have viewed around 15 to 20 villas that summer. He then came back a few months later, viewed again. He had created a bit of a short list. And yes, I agree. It was one of my biggest mistakes, is showing him too much.
But did it feel like, did you get to the stage where you're like, this isn't going to happen? Like, this is a lot.
Well, even my sales director came to me and he said, listen, I think this guy is literally wasting your time. And he even said, listen, I wouldn't waste my time on him anymore. He's literally just using you for...
As a tour guide.
And to... keeping busy on a holiday or a vacation to go and see beautiful homes.
Maybe. Some people do that, by the way.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, yes. And you can pick up very quickly whether they're serious or not. But fortunately, I think by driving them around, I had gotten to know them. And I literally turned to my sales director at that time and said, you're wrong. You're wrong. I think you're absolutely wrong.
So you got to 20 viewings and then they left the country?
Left the country.
And did you think, that's it, it's not going to happen?
No. Well, fortunately, they were still communicating.
Okay.
So they still were communicating. They were coming back and forth with regards to questions, sending me other listings, telling me, what about this? What is this? The more I got to know them, the more I got to understand exactly what they were looking for.
Right.
And ultimately, on their second time round, we saw another 3 or 4, and then they sent me a listing and they said, we've settled on the community at least.
Well, that's a bonus.
Yeah, we've settled on the community. We know exactly that we're wanting to purchase in this community, but can we see this? And fortunately, the second we saw it, they fell in love and they said, okay, perfect. We would like to purchase it. It was also 1/3 of the budget from a price perspective. And I was like, oh no, but I knew that because of the relationship that I had built with them, that there was more to come.
Right. So they came to you originally with a budget of
around 35.
And they ended up buying like 10, 11, 12. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And because I had done such a great job as representing him from a buyer's side, I had to split my comms with the seller's agent.
Yeah.
So, and then at that stage, I was still on like a 50-50 split with the company. So to walk away with like 55 grand
in exchange for your whole summer.
In exchange for my whole summer. But it was a great trade-off because ultimately, I literally have just done my 7th deal with him just the other day. And it's been a long journey. And there's a lot more of his real estate that we are going to be buying and selling. And
whereas many agents might have given up after the 5th, 6th, 7th, or 10th viewing.
Yeah,
you saw something.
Yeah, but I saw something based on the questions that I was asking.
Okay.
I saw something based on the relationship that I had built with him.
Because at some point you turned from tour guide to strategist, right?
Oh, of course.
How?
Well, there's an agent in the industry named Darren Murphy, and I cannot sing his praises enough.
Darren Murphy, Allsop and Allsop.
Yeah. A lot of agents or real estate agents are very boisterous, very loud. He's very quiet, very unassuming, if I can put it that way. But the one thing Darren is phenomenal at is information. he is a genius with regards to getting information from his clients and recording that information. And when you get to a stage like that, and when you're dealing with high net worth clients and you are asking the right questions and you understand their lifestyle, you understand their family, you understand their dogs, he will tell you absolutely everything about every single client.
Did
And
you
he's
used to work
personal.
with him?
No, no. But I've been on viewings with him,
Mhm.
and he knows absolutely everything. And when the client says, "Why is your seller selling?" he will tell you, "This is what the seller does. This is what he did. Why he's selling. Where he's going. This is what the property is all about." He gives you all the necessary information in order for you to transact with him.
Right.
And he knows all of that. So from a negotiation perspective, he's phenomenal. And that's why he is not only the top agent in Jumeirah Golf Estates, but arguably one of the top agents in the 1% in Dubai. It's because he has the right information at his fingertips.
And you can't get the right information without asking the right questions.
Of course.
Okay.
You've got to ask the right questions. And I don't think agents today are asking enough questions, and they're not asking the right questions.
What do you think are the main questions that people are skipping?
Agents are always scared to talk about money. They're always really scared to talk about money. Understanding where the money's come from, where it's going, when you purchased. If you're talking to a seller, I still remember doing a transaction where I sold an apartment that was at OP.
Which stands for original price.
Original price. The seller had it at 6 million. We ended up transacting at 5 million. And it was just simply based on the simple fact that I knew that when he purchased it, it cost him X amount of pounds. And when he was selling it, he was going to get Y amount of pounds, which he was going to get his 20%. I knew where he was going, why he was exiting the country, why he was leaving, what he was doing with the money. And just simply based on exchange rate, I was able to get a deal done below asking price in a market where he should have theoretically got an asking price. But we were able to negotiate a very quick transaction on an apartment at OP simply because I asked about the money. When he purchased it, what he purchased it for, how much pounds he brought it, did he use money from overseas, what was the exchange rate. Asking about money is the most important part of what you should as an agent be doing.
And you did the maths and the conversion for him, and then it made sense.
Yeah, he didn't even realize. He didn't even know that, oh, wait a second, I can't remember exactly the figures. It cost me £800,000 and now I'm getting £1 million just simply based on exchange rate. I'm getting the 20% that I wanted and the growth based on how long I've had the property, and he was happy to exit at that.
Okay. And so lastly, where do you draw the line between, 'cause money is a difficult conversation that some agents might not be comfortable having, but where do you draw the line between questioning, qualification and interrogation?
Oh, well, that comes down to relationship, doesn't it? I can ask my wife a lot of personal questions and question a lot of things and have a conversation with her about a lot of things simply because there's relationship there. If you are able to develop a relationship, you are able to ask the right questions and ask to some personal questions. It gets a little bit tricky. I think that a lot of guys try and rack off a whole bunch of questions, but it needs to be conversational. The more conversational you make it, and if you are spending time with them, it means you get to break up certain kinds of questions. So at the beginning of the viewing, you're asking, oh, where did you come from? How, all these types of questions. Then we're going for a lunch afterwards. Now they're in a little bit more of a relaxed setting and you haven't bombarded them with any questions for the last hour or 30 minutes. Now you can ask them more questions. Wait a little bit more, ask some more questions.
And you can position it as curiosity rather than asking questions.
Yeah.
There you go. So curiosity instead of interrogation.
Correct.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed that episode. If you did, catch the rest of Evern's episodes. And while you're at it, why not binge the whole season?